There are moments in life that change everything. Moments when a single sentence can destroy a person's future, that a single decision can erase a lifetime of trust. And a single secret can expose an empire built on lies. For Lucas Carter, that moment came at his father's funeral. The church was packed. Politicians sat beside celebrities. Business leaders filled the front rows. Reporters crowded outside the building. Everyone had come to pay their respects to William Carter, the billionaire founder of Carter Global, a man worth billions, a man admired by millions, and a man whose death had left behind one of the largest fortunes in America. As Lucas sat quietly in the front row, he tried to focus on the ceremony, but his thoughts kept returning to the same question. What would happen now? William Carter had built an empire from nothing. Surely his only son would inherit part of it. At least, that's what everyone expected. But what happened next shocked the entire room. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you, and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. After the funeral, family members gathered inside a private conference room. The lawyer stood at the front with a thick folder in his hands. The atmosphere was tense. Everyone knew they were about to hear the contents of William Carter's final will. Lucas sat beside his father's portrait. Across from him sat his stepmother, Victoria. Next to her was his half-brother, Ryan. Neither looked particularly sad. In fact, they looked almost excited. The lawyer cleared his throat. Then he began reading. Several charitable organizations received donations. Employees received bonuses. Executives received rewards. Properties were distributed. Investments were assigned. Then finally, the lawyer reached the section everyone had been waiting for. William Carter's family. The room fell silent. Lucas felt his heartbeat quicken. The lawyer looked down at the document, then spoke the words that shattered his world. To my son, Lucas Carter. The lawyer paused. Lucas lifted his head. I leave nothing. The room froze. For a moment, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Lucas stared at the lawyer in disbelief. Surely there had been a mistake. But the lawyer continued. The decision is final and shall not be challenged. Whispers spread across the room. Victoria lowered her eyes to hide a smile. Ryan couldn't hide his grin at all. Reporters learned about the announcement within hours. The headlines were brutal. Billionaire disowns only son. Heir left with nothing. Family rejection shocks business world. Within days, Lucas became a public embarrassment. People who once wanted to be his friend stopped answering his calls. Investors ignored him. Former associates distanced themselves. It was as if his father had erased him from existence. And perhaps the most painful part of all, Lucas couldn't understand why. His relationship with William had never been perfect, but he loved his father. And despite their disagreements, he believed his father loved him too. So why would he do this? For weeks, Lucas searched for answers, but none came. Then one rainy evening, everything changed. While sorting through boxes of his father's personal belongings, Lucas found an old watch. It was worn and scratched. The same watch William had carried for years. Lucas turned it over in his hands. Something felt unusual. The weight seemed wrong. Curious, he examined it more closely. After several minutes, he discovered a hidden compartment. His heart skipped a beat. Inside was a tiny storage device, and attached to it was a handwritten note. 3 words. Trust no one. Lucas felt a chill run down his spine. That night, he inserted the device into his laptop. A single video file appeared. His hands trembled as he clicked play. The screen flickered. Then his father's face appeared. Older, tired, and far more serious than Lucas had ever seen him. Lucas. The sound of his father's voice instantly brought tears to his eyes. If you're watching this, it means I'm gone. William paused. And it means my plan worked. Lucas frowned. Plan? What happened at the reading of my will was intentional. Lucas's eyes widened. I did not disown you. The room suddenly felt smaller. William continued. I had to make the world believe I did. Lucas leaned closer to the screen. Every word felt impossible. For years, someone inside Carter Global has been stealing billions. Billions. The numbers sounded unreal. I discovered the truth too late. William's voice became heavier. The people responsible are powerful, ruthless, and willing to kill to protect themselves. Lucas felt a knot forming in his stomach. I believe they were watching you. They knew you were my son. They knew one day you might inherit the company. So I removed the target from your back. Lucas sat frozen. Everything he thought he knew had just changed. Then William said something even more shocking. The conspiracy reaches into our family. Lucas stared at the screen. Family? You must find the evidence. You must finish what I started. The video ended. Lucas sat motionless. For the first time since the funeral, he understood. His father hadn't abandoned him. His father had been trying to save his life. The following weeks became an obsession. Lucas began investigating every clue hidden inside the files. Thousands of documents, bank transfers, private communications, corporate records. The deeper he looked, the darker the truth became. Money had been disappearing from Carter Global for years. Billions of dollars had been secretly routed through shell corporations. Fake contracts had been approved. Fraudulent accounts had been created. And somehow, nobody had noticed. Or perhaps they had, and simply remained silent. As Lucas followed the trail, one name appeared repeatedly. Victoria, his stepmother. Large payments connected to companies she controlled. Private meetings. Suspicious transactions. The evidence seemed overwhelming. Lucas became convinced she was responsible. But something didn't add up. The numbers didn't tell the whole story. There were missing pieces. Then another discovery shifted everything. Ryan, his half-brother. Documents linked him to secret accounts. Encrypted communications. Private transfers. Suddenly Lucas wasn't sure who to trust. Was Victoria the mastermind? Or Ryan? The investigation consumed him. And then came the breakthrough. A hidden recording recovered from an old company server. Lucas listened carefully. His father was speaking with someone. Not Victoria. Not Ryan. Someone else. Someone unexpected. Someone William trusted more than anyone. His business partner, Daniel Brooks. The man who had helped build Carter Global from the beginning. William sounded angry. Furious. You stole from me. There was silence. Then Daniel answered. I built this company too. Lucas felt his pulse race. The conversation continued. And every second revealed another layer of betrayal. Daniel had spent nearly 20 years siphoning money from the company. Billions of dollars. He manipulated executives, controlled accounts, created fake corporations. And whenever anyone came close to discovering the truth, he destroyed them. Even worse, he had manipulated Victoria and Ryan, using them as distractions, allowing suspicion to fall on them while he remained hidden. The real mastermind had been standing beside William all along, pretending to be his closest friend. Lucas finally understood everything. The conspiracy, the fake inheritance, the secret message. His father had known the truth, and now it was time to expose it. Weeks later, Carter Global held its annual shareholders meeting, the largest in company history. Executives filled the room. Investors watched from around the world. Daniel Brooks sat confidently at the front, certain he had won. Then Lucas walked onto the stage. Gasps echoed across the room. Many hadn't seen him since the funeral. Daniel smiled, a smile that quickly disappeared. Lucas connected a device to the presentation system. The giant screens behind him came to life. Documents appeared. Bank records, transfers, emails, recordings. One piece of evidence after another. The room descended into chaos. Faces turned pale. Executives exchanged nervous glances. Investors demanded answers. And then came the final blow. William Carter's secret recording. His voice filled the hall, exposing everything, naming the people responsible, including Daniel Brooks. Security moved immediately. Authorities entered moments later. And before the meeting ended, the empire's greatest traitor was led away in handcuffs. Justice had finally arrived. But the biggest surprise was still waiting. Several weeks later, the family lawyer contacted Lucas again. There was one final document his father had left behind. One final message. Lucas opened the envelope carefully. Inside was a letter, written entirely in William's handwriting. My son, if you're reading this, then you've succeeded. I knew you would. Lucas felt tears forming. I never wanted you to inherit my company. His heart sank. Then he continued reading. I wanted you to inherit something far greater. The lawyer revealed the truth. Most of William Carter's fortune had not been placed inside the company. It had been transferred into a foundation dedicated to helping children, families, and communities. And Lucas had been chosen to lead it. The fortune was still worth billions, but it wasn't intended to make him richer. It was intended to help him change lives. For the first time, Lucas understood what his father truly wanted. Not power, not status, not endless wealth. Purpose. Months later, hospitals were built. Scholarships were funded. Families received support. Entire communities benefited from the foundation's work. And one morning, while visiting a children's hospital funded by the foundation, Lucas stopped in front of a framed photograph. It showed William Carter smiling. Below the photograph were words that would stay with Lucas forever. The greatest inheritance is not money. It is the courage to do what is right when the entire world stands against you. Lucas smiled, not because he had inherited billions, but because he had finally understood his father's greatest gift. And for the first time since the funeral, he felt proud to carry the Carter name. If stories like this keep you thinking long after the end, hit the like button and subscribe for more Mind Whisper stories where every story hides a secret. Rocket.